Resolution coming out of closed session, moved by Edwards, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved that council authorize the township solicitor or the director of development services and environmental sustainability to enter into minutes of settlement on the appeal to minor variance application A9019 Rothney as per the terms presented in the June 11th, 2020 confidential special close council and closed session report. Any comments? All those in favor? Madam Clerk, carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, we've got one more, moved by Councillor Nishikawa, who's in the room, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved, the Director of Public Works be authorized to obtain a fair market value appraisal in support of a proposed acquisition of land as presented in the confidential council in closed session report dated 11/2020, subject to the approval of the respective landowner. All those in favor? Once again, carried unanimously, Madam Clerk. Thank you very much. A couple more. Yeah, we're just missing right. Okay, so now we're going to get back to our regular programming. Report from our chief building official, appointment of bylaw officer. Oh, I got some shore road allowance.
They're bylaws.
Oh, I'm on bylaws.
So you can.
Where's my shore road allowance? I don't have that one.
It's a bylaw, but it's also another resolution with it that has to be.
Okay.
So if you just want to start with date and stuff, I think, unless there's any questions about those two, those things will just be read in
I and K, the two fives.
5J and K.
Okay, so I've got two little reports. Anybody have any questions on? I don't have J.
It's a bylaw.
Oh, okay. Let's go to K, clerk's assistant, repeal original shore road closing. Anybody have any issues with those, or can I just read the bylaw or the motion first of all? Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved that a portion of Township Council Resolution number C-15-18-11-16 passed on November 18, 2016, declared the original shore road allowance lying in front of concession 3, lot 7 Watt, designated as part 2 on 35R25183 as surplus, be repealed. And that is 1944281 Ontario Limited Rule 2, 1, and 30. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried unanimously. Thank you. That one's there. The grant opportunity for Federation of Canadian Municipalities. I'm just going to read this resolution moved by Councillor Jagwitz, seconded by Councillor Kelly. Be it resolved, Council of Township Muskoka Lakes direct staff to apply for a grant opportunity from the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program for the Township Asset Management Project. I saw that the other day, and that the Township Muskoka Lakes commits to conducting the following activities in its proposed project submitted to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Municipal Asset Management Program to advance our asset management program. Number one, that is staff training, acquisition, and configuration of asset management software. And number three, asset management plan development. And further, Township Muskoka Lakes commits $40,825 from its budget toward the cost of this initiative. Any comments on that? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, so that's that. Madam Clerk, where am I going? Straight to bylaws?
Yes.
Okay.
The planning bylaws, which
So Mr. Pink, our first one that we have is Woodfield. I know there are no minor amendments in this. This would be coming out of our planning committee meeting. Anybody have any, I'll just go to staff, not staff's perspective on this. First of all, to council, are there any questions on this first bylaw? Particular regarding Woodfield? Need anybody background on it from the planning? We're basically approving what was done in the planning committee. Okay, moved by Councillor Edwards, seconded by Councillor Hayes. Be it resolved that bylaw 2019-165 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 Woodfield Enterprise Limited Rule 2-15-4 be read a first and second time. Any further comments? All those in favor? That is carried, Madam Clerk. Thank you. One more time. moved by Councillor Mazan, seconded by Councillor Nishikawa. Be it resolved, bylaw 2019-165 be read a third time and finally passed. Any further comments? All those in favor? Councillor Nishikawa is frozen. Councillor Nishikawa, hand in the air. You're in favor of this third? Yes, there we go. Thank you. Sometimes your screen freezes, Councillor Nishikawa, so it's hard to see. Okay, so that's 165. Next one is Muskoka Lumber, Building Supplies. Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved, bylaw 2018 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 Muskoka Lumber Building Supplies Rule 5301 be read a first and second time. Mr. Pink, did you want to comment? I see your hand is up. Was that to comment on this, or are you okay?
Just to remind council that you must note your effect of any public submissions. I do not believe there were any on the previous or the current.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was the, so council, we had no impacts because of public submissions on the first one. And on this particular one, we haven't voted on it yet, but let me read first and second reading. All those in favor? Okay, that one's carried. And then third reading, no minor amendments on this one, Mr. Pink, I don't believe. If there is any, Councillor Nishikawa, do you have a question? I see your hand is up.
Mostly that was the impact that we did receive some concerns from a resident, if I remember correctly, but in fact it was dealt with at that time.
Okay, thank you. So third reading is moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved, bylaw 2020-18 be read a third time and finally passed. All those in favor? Okay. Okay, this one I do believe has a minor amendment. Once again, it's Muskoka Lumber. Moved by Councillor Kelly, second by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved, bylaw 2020 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14. Muskoka Lumber Building Supplies Rule 624-69-3 be read a first and second time. I'll come to the minor amendment in a second. Let's pass first and second. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. There was no impacts on the last one. So our minor amendment, Mr. Pink, would you like to explain?
Yes, there was an environmental study completed during the review of the application. It identified a wetland on the central rear portion of the property. The minor amendment would rezone that portion to EP1. I think just further to Councillor Nishikawa's comments, I think one neighbor did comment. It was on this Muskoka Lumber bylaw, not the previous.
Okay, so they commented on this one. And did we make any amendments or changes regarding that neighbor?
I believe their concerns were addressed. Don't recall the specifics off the top, but it might have been the rezoning to environmental protection. So,
okay, thank you. So moved by Councillor Nishikawa, second by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved, Council Town Muskoka Lakes amend bylaw 2020-20 and this amendment is minor in nature and does not require further public circulation and is hereby approved prior to third reading. The minor amendment shall consist of rezoning the areas identified in the species at risk assessment to environmental protection EP1. On the amendment, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Third reading, moved by Councillor Bridgman, second by Councillor Edwards. Be it resolved that bylaw 2020-20 be read a third time and finally passed. Any further comments? All those in favor? That is unanimous. Thank you. And the impacts from the neighbors that they were resolved through discussion, Mr. Pink, I think is appropriate. You okay?
yes.
Great, thank you. Next, moved by Councillor Hayes, second by Councillor Jagowitz. Be resolved that bylaw 2020-21 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 Tom. Rule 425-35 be read a first and second time. All those in favor?
Oh,
Oh, or Councillor Edwards has a question. Councillor Edwards, sorry, thank you.
Yes, this, there was a lot of questions on this property about stuff being done without building permits and everything else like that. Has that been checked out by the bylaw?
Mr. Pink?
I don't believe the issue at this property was building without a permit. I believe they obtained permits. What happened is they originally went to the Committee of Adjustment for a dock in a certain location that raised concerns of the neighboring owners. They then took it upon themselves to demolish other docks on the property and build the said dock that raised concerns of the neighbors. And the current application before you is to essentially largely replace the dock that they removed. So it was not an issue of building without permits. It was a very large property with separate frontages. And they have built in accordance with the rules, although in somewhat of an unorthodox process.
Okay, the thing was this, that the extra 10 feet that they're looking for, supposedly all the steel pilings were in before they got approval for it. That's one thing. Secondly, that dock on the other side looks like it could be an extra boathouse. Was that allowed for?
Yes, a boathouse is permitted, and I believe it is slated on the north side of the property, and I believe a building permit may already be issued for that.
Is that like a dry boathouse?
No, I believe it is entirely over water, or are you referring to
It's
the lack
over
of
water,
slips
but
within?
I don't think there's any slips in it.
I would have to review the specific building permit drawings. I don't have those on hand.
It'd be interesting to know just what it is going in there, because I know the neighbors were really upset about it, but I'll not defer to you, but I think maybe that it should be checked out.
We can send our billing department in there to make sure whatever is built. Again, we're going back to March, and I do remember that there were some people who were in the audience and talked about it, but committee, I think, unanimously supported it at that time.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Okay, thanks.
So I've read this first and second time. All those in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. No minor amendment. Moved by Councillor Zavitz, seconded by Councillor Bridgman. Be it resolved by law 2020-21. Be read a third time and finally passed. All those in favor? Councillor Nishikawa is frozen, but I'm assuming she has, there she is. Thank you. Okay, and the impacts on that, I think Mr. Pink, were that we had considerable neighbors' comments, but we're able to resolve the comments with the neighbors going forward. Okay. Okay, moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved by law 2019-162 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 Proden blockchain real estate. Roll 2, 21-104-3 be read a first and second time. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. No minor amendment. Mr. Pink, was there any public comments on this that we need to be aware of at this time?
No, this was earlier than March. If you recall, they did place some temporary structures on the property, which we'd like to see removed. They did finally remove those, and that's why it's being brought. We did receive one comment from a neighbor, I think, inquiring whether it would be used as an Airbnb. And I believe the owner was present at the meeting and indicated that was not the intention. And that was the only submission I believe received on this application.
Okay, thank you. So moved by Councillor Nishikawa, second by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved by law 2019-162 be read a third time and finally passed. All those in favor? And Councillor Nishikawa, I think, is frozen, but again, there she goes. Thank you. Okay. You're okay with the impacts on that, Mr. Pink?
And I presume they did not have an effect, and that's
Right.
fine. Okay.
Okay, we are on to, moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved by law 2018-102 to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 214-14. Olbert, Roll 4, 28-55-3. Be read a first and second time. All those in favor? Councillor Roberts and Councillor. Everybody's there. Thank you. No minor amendments on this one. Any comments from the public?
No comments from the public, Your Worship, on this application. This is going back a little bit further. There's again quite an extensive history with lot additions and the Committee of Adjustment. This recommendation from Planning Committee was not to be brought forward until the severances were finalized. Happy to report that finally, late yesterday, the severances were finally registered, so we could bring the bylaw back. No comments, I believe, were received from the public on this application.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Roberts, seconded by Councillor Zavitz. Be it resolved that bylaw 2018-102 be read a third time and finally passed. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, this one I think we do have a minor amendment, but this is regarding our sports courts. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved that bylaw 2019-154 sports courts be amended to amend comprehensive zoning bylaw 2014-14 be read a first and second time. We'll get back to the amendment for before third reading. All those in favor, first and second?
Yes.
There we go.
It's a-
Okay, Mr. Pink, minor amendment.
Yes, I believe we've spelled it out in the resolution for you, which is actually not in front of me, but I believe the minor amendment, we tweaked the title of the sport courts. We had reference to permanency and also clarified and listed some general, I guess, sport court type uses in the definition as well.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Kelly, second by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved, the Council of Township Muskoka Lakes amend bylaw 2019-154, and this amendment is minor in nature and does not require further public circulation. Is hereby approved prior to third reading. The minor amendments shall consist of adding transitional provisions, changing the title of the definition, and adding reference to permanent in the definition. Any further comments? All those in favor? Come on, there's Ruth. There's a delay in the satellite feed from Torrance. We love it. Third, final reading is moved by Councillor Everett, seconded by Councillor Hayes. Be resolved that the bylaw 2019-154 be read a third time and finally passed. All those in favor? Chiming in from Torrance. Perfect. Okay, we have a sport court bylaw. I think, Mr. Pink, the lots of public input on this. It revised the definitions and got us to a better finish line. Correct?
That is correct.
Perfect.
So just
That one is not. No. Okay. Okay, we've got a lot of bylaws and one big resolution here. Moved by Councillor Kelly, seconded by Councillor Mazan. Be it resolved that the following bylaws be read a first, second, third time and finally passed. Bylaw 20-42 to deem lot on Plan 31 Medora not to be a lot on a plan of subdivision. Wince, Rule 4-1039, and bylaw 20-43 to deem lot 61 on Plan M67 Medora not to be a lot on a plan of subdivision. Cullimore, Rule 4769, bylaw 20-44 to deem lot 6 on Plan M255 Watt not to be a plan of subdivision. Kinnears, Rule 2274, bylaw 20-34 to appoint property standards officers for the septic system reinspection program. Bylaw 20-35 to appoint property standards officers for the septic system reinspection program. Why do we have
because there's
two people, individual bylaws? Thank you. Bylaw 20-38 to repeal bylaw 2016-138, a bylaw to close that part of original shore road allowance lying in front of lot 7, concession 3 Watt, designated as part 2 on Plan 35R25183 1944281 Ontario Limited Rule 2130, and bylaw 20-41 to appoint a treasurer for the Township of Muskoka Lakes, and bylaw 2020-45 to appoint a Director of Development Services and Environmental Sustainability for the Township of Muskoka Lakes. Second last one, I know our CAO was very appreciative of. Any further comments on this resolution? All those in favor? No, Mr. CAO, you cannot vote. That is carried. Thank you. And congratulations on your demotion, losing treasurer status. And congratulations, Mr. Pink, on your new title, longest title in the history of Muskoka Lakes. I do not need that council in closed session.
No, we already did.
Don't need that. Don't need that. We're on to proceedings, I believe.
Yes,
Is there anything else that we need to cover off today?
we already closed.
We are ready. Moved by Councillor Nishikawa, seconded by Councillor Roberts. Be it resolved by law 2020-47 to confirm the proceedings of special council be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. All those in favor? And the last minute submission from Torrance is in. Okay.
Everyone wait by Ruth.
What's that?
Everyone
No,
wait
not
by
saying
the
Ruth
Ruth.
yet. Councillor Jagowitz has a question.
I assume now that we've appointed Mark Donaldson as the treasurer, it's public information. I don't think we were told that it was. And second of all, would it be possible just to get a small bio on him so that when we get asked questions as to his background?
We will forward on to information. Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Your Worship. I believe that there was an email that was circulated to council along with a copy of a media release. I'll definitely follow up and provide additional copy of that.
I believe you indicated that it was confidential at the time we got it, that's all.
Sorry, can you repeat that for us, Councillor Jagowitz?
I believe when you supplied that, you indicated it was confidential and you'd let us know when it was public. Has it been announced to staff and everything?
Well, there's been a media release, so it is public knowledge.
Okay, so I just missed that then. Thank you.
Yeah. And if it wasn't public knowledge, your acknowledgement of his name in this meeting is probably made it public anyway. So
Well,
that
actually, the
is-
CAO acknowledged it in yesterday's meeting. That's why so.
I know, but nothing's approved yesterday until it becomes council worthy. So
Gotcha.
he's still there. He just turned off his video. Okay, let's get out of here. Moved by Councillor Zavitz, seconded by Councillor Kelly. Be it resolved, this meeting adjourn at 3:12 p.m. And I'll figure out the next time we have a meeting. All those in favor? Come on, Ruth, you can do it.
Come on, Ruth.
There
Yeah.
it is. Thank you. And by the way, Ruth, it is awesome. And when we can actually really hear you when you speak, when it's not broadcasting both video and audio.